Good. Hello, everybody. On behalf of myself, Mr. Eric Ficara, and Mrs. Rebecca Fodor, we want to welcome you to the Spring Band Concert here at Jackson Memorial High School. This evening, you are going to hear not 1, 2, 3, 4. You are going to hear 5 different instrumental ensembles here. We featured earlier, if you want to give one more round of applause for the Jazz Lab who just finished up their performance. I'm sure Mr. Ficara had mentioned this, but they have worked very, very hard under the direction of Mr. Ficara. They work 1 day a week. And in addition to that 1 day a week, they have to work around everybody else's schedule. They do 2 rehearsals here, then they have to take 2 weeks off for the musical, and then they have another 3 rehearsals. And the product that they just put out there is astronomically great. So once again, can you give them a huge round of applause? Congratulations to all of you. We are going to feature tonight the Jazz Ensemble, which is right behind me. After the Jazz Ensemble, we're going to go up onto the stage and we're going to feature the Percussion Ensemble, which is in their 2nd year of existence. We're going to take a short 5-minute intermission. We're going to reset both of our stages. Then we're going to feature Mrs. Fodor's Woodwind Choir, and then finish out our program with the concert band. So 5 ensembles here. That is fantastic for a spring concert. I do really want to really quickly recognize the administration here at both Jackson School District and also at Jackson Memorial High School. I know Mr. Tarver is here representing the administration, so thank you so much for your support of our program here. I don't know where you are. Thank you, Mr. Tarver. I do have to recognize right now at the beginning of the program, I have to recognize the custodial staff and the maintenance staff here in this building. I don't know if you really truly get to know what happens behind the scenes here. Over the last 2 weeks, we have had the Getz Band concert here. We had to break that stage down. We had to set up for a dance competition. There was a dance competition here this weekend on Saturday. So all of what you see behind me had to be broken down. Then we came in this morning, and in less than an hour, the custodial staff and the maintenance department put this back together this morning. Tomorrow morning before 9 o'clock, all of this has to come down again because the Getz chorus is going to be here at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So they have a big job in front of them. So again, I want to recognize the custodial staff. They have been absolutely fantastic with us here. Some other Jackson news. I have been asked to read this. This is from Jackson Television. JTV will be shooting tonight's concert and selling DVDs to take home with you right after the show ends. DVDs will be $15 and will be ready between 10 and 15 minutes after it's over at the table just outside the auditorium. The concert will also be streamed live tonight to JTV's YouTube channel, so people that couldn't make it tonight can go now to www.jtvlive, that's live.org right now, or they can watch it on Cablevision Channel 77 in Jackson. I do also, there's one other announcement that I do want to make. I know we have been sending out blasts and emails and Google Classroom messages. Tonight is the last day that we are selling tickets for the band banquet. The band banquet is on June 3rd. We are inviting all of our students to come with us and also family members or who else wants to celebrate this fantastic year that we've had here in the Memorial Band Program. It's on June 3rd. It is at Le Beauve Grand in Lakehurst from 12 to 4 o'clock. Please sign up. I know Mrs. Rochelle is here as well. She's right here in the front. She'll be out at the table after. Tickets are $45, and she has blank order forms as well. So please see her. And thank you for taking care of that, Mrs. Rochelle. Much appreciated. And lastly, I know this is something that we say at every concert. We do ask that you keep your cell phones either on airplane mode or turned off or silent on some degree. These kids, you are going to hear very quickly, they work very hard to get the product that you're going to hear. It is a special treat for us tonight, so if you can power them down or save them, if there is an emergency or anything like that, we can use the exit doors in the back. And we hope you enjoyed tonight's program. So thank you so much, and the Jackson Memorial Jazz Ensemble. Thank you so much, everybody. That first chart is a standard in the jazz lit. It was a piece first played by the Weather Report and then made famous by Maynard Ferguson. That was a chart called Birdland. That featured Matt Ebersol, on the piano. J.R. Alderali on the tenor saxophone. And Troy DeStasso on the trumpet. Hey, Troy. If you don't know anything about this jazz ensemble, this is an auditioned ensemble. We do compete. We do compete from the months of February all the way up to about 3 weeks ago. In the last month, this ensemble has competed at Jackson Liberty High School, and then a week later we went to Princeton High School and performed at the state final competition and did very well. Last week, we were at Four Seasons South Knolls, and we performed in front of the community. It was a great concert that we did there. And then 2 days ago, we were actually at Hershey Park, and we did a really nice performance at Hershey Park, and it's been just a wild ride. From here on out, we're actually going to do our competition program. We started our competition with a chart called Apollo's Reel. It is an original composition, and again, Mr. Vaquera and I've probably told this story before, but when I first found the chart, I went to Mr. Vaquera, who's my sounding board, and I said, man, I'm not sure. This is kind of like on the cusp of being just a little bit too hard. I don't know if it's going to be too challenging. I don't know if they're going to get it. They took this piece and absolutely ran with it. It's a really cool chart, so we hope you enjoy it. It's going to feature Tom Perucchi on the guitar and also Monty Davis on the alto saxophone, so we hope you enjoy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. On your program, next on our program, we actually slowed things down a little bit. We usually do something fast, something slow, something fast. So when I was looking for something slow, I knew I had a certain person in mind, and I kept racking my brain, and I kept looking through some stuff. And then I found this chart. I found it a few years ago. The title of the piece is called A Theme from the Summer of '42. It was written for alto saxophone, and I knew I had a really, really strong Barry saxophone player. He came into the program very, very strong, and just continued to grow. I mean, you're going to see him probably in every ensemble that we have here. This tune was originally written for the Doc Severinsen Band, the Tonight Show Band. So we're featuring Mike Kaliarakis on the theme from Summer of '42. Once again, Mike. He has kept me on my toes. We had words freshman year, right? Tom, be quiet. But he learned. He learned, but it's been an absolute pleasure to have Tom in the ensemble, and I'm to the point where, Tom, do your thing. Go and do it, and I don't have to worry about it. He has been a crucial member of this ensemble, and huge, huge seat to fill coming in next year, so congratulations, Tom. Well, we have come to a close in our program. We're gonna... One last time. Can you tell we spent a lot of time together? We're gonna finish our program with a Latin chart called Sabor de Cuba. This is going to feature Miss Maggie Noble on the alto saxophone, Mr. Eric Noon on the trombone, Miss Shannon Stroud on the tenor saxophone, and finally, Mr. Zach Nogueras on the trumpet. We hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your applause and your recognition of this ensemble. We're going to just take 2 seconds. We're going to get the jazz ensemble off the stage. The percussion ensemble is going to get up on the stage, and then we're going to continue with our program. Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay, welcome back. Cool, how's everybody doing? How about for the jazz ensemble? And especially with them, when I hear that last piece, I really think, it's really hard to make that music sound authentic, and they really do a nice job of it. What's awesome is we're going to start our program with the percussion ensemble with a very similar style of music, so you get to kind of hear the similarities, but on a completely different set of instruments with a different set of sounds, which is really cool. So what you'll notice with this ensemble, if you know anybody who's up here, the overwhelming majority of people here, except for, so all but two, are not percussionists. And most of them, this is their first time ever playing a percussion instrument. So took a really nice opportunity to use this piece to get people playing all these different instruments, which is really cool. So I hope you enjoy Big Yellow Mambo. Cool. Not bad for a bunch of people who don't play those normally, right? Yeah, pretty good. So, cool. So, as a percussionist, one of the biggest things that I have to think about is logistics. So I'm going to slide on over here. And this is a whole brand new setup over here that's already set up. Look at that. Ta-da. We're already here. Cool. So this is going to be very different. So it's very different in the sense that over here we had about 12 or 13 people playing, right? A few people playing the same parts where they can really rely on each other a little bit more in case they're not sure what's going on. Over here you'll see we have a quintet. Okay, so as a quintet, and if you notice what they're playing is very different from each other, so all the parts are going to be a lot different also. This is really difficult, and this is a piece that we really grew a lot as musicians by learning this piece together, which is a lot of fun. So if you can imagine, this is kind of like the piece is called Gentle Metal Monster. So you think about a monster that might be asleep and is waking up, and it may be kind of like we do when we wake up, our bones kind of crack a little bit, and we kind of wake up and move everything around. You can kind of hear all the different sounds that may be created by a large beast of some kind that is not so evil after all. So I hope you enjoy Gentle Metal Monster. Okay, thank you very much. So you can see kind of how difficult that might be to put all that together. They really did a fantastic job. So how about another hand? So now as we set up for our final piece, which is really kind of a blend of the setups of both pieces, which you're just going to have to give us a second so we can set that up. But we did practice this. Part of practicing for percussion ensembles, not just the notes and the rhythms and everything that makes the music, but it's getting from one setup to the other. So as I'm talking, you might want to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on behind me, because you can see all the logistical kind of things that we've had to practice in order to make this happen. So you can kind of see all the choreography that goes along with that. So, but one of the things that, again, Mr. Diaz and I, he had mentioned it before, we talk to each other as much as we can about what's going on with the program. It used to be every day for at least a half hour or so, but now, if you don't know, I'm actually at Getz in the morning, and I get to teach some of the 6th and 7th and 8th graders in the morning in a variety of musical things that are down there. But because of that, he and I don't really get the chance to really talk so much anymore. But when we do, we talk about growth. And we talk about the last semester of this program. Really, every student, in so many ways, in part because they just went after what we gave them, but we gave them things that were really challenging to put together. A lot of really challenging things to put together and to kind of make musical and not just stumble through. Sorry, we need a little WD-40 over here, which is on me, but that's okay. So really a lot of challenging things that create this. And again, you're starting to see some people come back into the ensemble. Not all the people that are up here are percussionists. We have a lot of people that are really interested in making as much of this as they possibly can for us, which is really exciting. But you'll see within our concert band program, you obviously saw within the jazz ensemble program, and if you've seen the jazz lab before, we've really had there was a lot of growth that went into the program. And if you don't know, with the jazz lab, ooh, is everybody okay? Again, logistics, right? Yeah. Cool. It's okay. I've seen worse. I've seen a piano go off the stage. We don't want to see that yet. So I totally lost my train of thought because I almost just saw the gong go off the stage. But, cool. Well, I think we're actually, believe it or not, we're actually pretty close. We timed it out at around 2 minutes. I think we're getting pretty close to that. So I'm going to let them finish setting up. We are going to be taking on a piece called Detour. Okay, so Detour, this piece is actually, it did provide a lot of challenges for the group. It's in an unusual time signature, if that means anything to you. It's an unusual setup. It's using what we call, and actually Big Yellow Mambo uses what we sometimes call the percussion orchestra, where we take all the full register of sounds you might be able to get from an orchestra or from a concert band, and we spread that out among all the different percussion instruments, all the mallet instruments, and everything else that we have in order to create a full texture with just percussion instruments. That's the best part about being a percussionist, is it's not just one instrument. We get to play really as many things as we can hit with something in one way or another, which is pretty cool. So you'll get to hear that. You'll hear the full spectrum of sound from all of everything. This group is comprised primarily of our percussionists of the concert band, of the marching band, and things like that. So you'll get to hear a lot of really, really good techniques. You'll get to hear a lot of really good sounds that come out of these guys. So are we pretty much ready to go? Cool. Okay, well, I'm just going to give them a minute, but please enjoy Detour. After Detour, we will have a brief 10-minute intermission or so. We'll put all this stuff, we'll route this stuff all the way back behind the group, and then you'll be hearing the Woodwind Choir, and then after that, the concert band as well. So please enjoy. Good. Thank you very much. As I said, we'll be taking a brief intermission now. Please join us back in about 10 to 15 minutes so we can start up with our Woodwind Choir. Thank you so much. With this ensemble, if you know anybody who's up here. Cool. Not bad for a bunch of people who don't play those normally, right? Yeah, pretty good. So, cool. So, as a percussionist, one of the biggest things that I have to think about is cool. So I hope you enjoy Big Yellow Mambo.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the 10-minute intermission. That was pretty cool. We did that. That was pretty smooth. If you want to be honest, that was pretty good. As we start our second half of the program, we've heard a lot of the brass and the percussion end of it. So I think even before I got here, to counterbalance all of that, they started a woodwind ensemble. This comprises of all the woodwind instruments, and these are a lot of instruments that you wouldn't necessarily see in the jazz program or in the percussion ensemble. So this is an ensemble that's been going on for quite a few years. I even think Mrs. Fodor was in the woodwind choir when you were in high school, yes? Yeah. So without further ado, we want to introduce Mrs. Fodor, who is a 6th grade band director in our district, and the Jackson Memorial Woodwind Choir. We hope you enjoy.
Good evening, everyone. This is, as Mr. Diaz has announced, the Jackson Memorial High School Woodwind Choir, and our first piece this evening is called Gypsy Rondo. Next on our program is a little change of a pace, a very familiar tango to a lot of you called La Comparsita. Okay, next we're going to feature a piece called Africa by Toto, and this is arranged. This is arranged by Michael Koulirakis, and it features on soprano saxophone Shannon Stroud, altos Vance, Monty, Ben, and Mike, tenors Emma and Mike, and on Barry sax JR and Ryan. Let's give another round of applause to our saxophone ensemble. And another special round of applause to Michael Koulirakis, who organized all that himself. He arranged the music himself, and rehearsed all the saxophones together. Nice job, Mike and saxophone. Good work. The The last piece on our Woodwind Choir program for this evening is called Woodwind World. Hope you enjoy. more big round of applause for the Woodwind Choir. Great job, guys. Please excuse us for a few moments as we transition to the concert band.
He didn't get a chance to introduce himself. That was Mr. Vaquera. That was Moorside. Oh, he's right there. Sorry. Mr. Vaquera, Moorside Suite, please. The second piece in our program is a composition titled Atlantic Crossing. I came across this piece in the winter. We did a sight reading day in the end of December. Mr. McCarthy, Mrs. Fodor, and some of our students came in on a Saturday. It was a snowy Saturday, if you remember. And we just came in just to sight read. We took 2 hours and we sight read everything from grade 1/2, which is 6th grade band music, all the way up to lower level high school literature. And they did such a great job. And this was one of the last pieces they did, and I fell in love with it. I was like, oh my God, this is a great piece. I really want to get this in front of our ensemble. So what I decided to do was put it in front of the Band 1 students. If you're not familiar, we have 2 different classes here. In Band 1, raise your hand if you're in Band 1, real quick. So if you look, there's kind of scattered around Band 1. These are most of our freshman students. And in the Band 1 class, we spend a lot of time developing the higher order musical concepts. So we talk about tone, we talk about articulation, we talk about reading rhythms, and just being more independent readers. So this is a culmination of all of the work we've done. So featuring the Band 1 ensemble, Atlantic Crossing. We hope you enjoy. So after Band 1, after our freshman year, we move on to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year. We have an ensemble called Band 2. We meet the opposite days of Band 1, which once again are our sophomores, juniors, and seniors. And I was looking for something for them to work, and since I found something for Band 1, I had a rifle for something to feature the Band 2 ensemble. And I was listening to a whole bunch of music, and I came across this piece by Mike Sweeney. And Mr. McCarthy and I were actually talking about this the other day. Mike Sweeney is a composer that writes primarily for middle school ensembles. So I clicked on it thinking, I want to hear what it says. The title of the piece is called Fractures in Time, so that kind of intrigued me a little bit. And I listened to it, and I'm like, oh my God, really? What, really? And then I said, Eric, come over here. Eric, I want you to listen to this piece. And he was thinking the same thing that I was, and he listened to it, and he was like, Jason, I don't know, this might be a stretch. I'm not really sure. I went for it, and I am so glad I went for this piece. It's a piece called Fractures in Time, and it essentially talks about time. There isn't really a theme to it. The composer liner notes talks about how he wanted to play around with every element of time. That includes time signature, that includes feel or sounds that he uses. So there is no set like toe tapping that you go along with it. But it's just this really cool piece where you put all of these small little elements together and it comes out with something fantastic. So you're going to hear a plethora of instruments and everybody playing at different times and all these different things. I know we have the rain stick. That's one of the jazz ensemble's favorite things, the rain stick. Right, Garrett? He can't hear me. But anyway, this is Mike Sweeney's Fractures in Time. We hope you enjoy. Band 2 students. Thank you. Whoa, that was loud. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit different, yes? Yeah, a little out of the box, but it's just, thank you. Go on, give them a round of applause. It's a little bit out of the box, but you think about time and like all those different things that you do with it, and Mr. Sweeney created a musical representation of all those different times. It was just so creative that I couldn't not buy it and put it in front of them and see what they can do. And they did such a great job tackling that. And it was tough to get their minds wrapped around it, but they committed to it and they did a great job. One more round of applause for them. Thank you. We're going to move on to another one of my favorite composers. He's always a go-to in my book. His name is Dr. Frank Ticheli, a very prominent wind band composer, and has written for every medium that you could possibly imagine. This is one of his first, probably 5 wind band works. This is an arrangement of Amazing Grace. It is absolutely gorgeous. I've wanted to get Ticheli in front of these kids as long as I could, and they're doing such a fantastic job. So we hope you enjoy this arrangement of Frank Ticheli's Amazing Grace. I'm sorry, really quick, and I forgot to do this before we did this. If you had a solo in that piece, can you just stand up real quick and be recognized? There are a whole bunch of soloists. Stand up, please. Gorgeous arrangement of Amazing Grace. It's fantastic. Yeah, I hear you. She's liking it. I like that. We're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to go from something very, very classically heavy to something to the total end of the spectrum. There was a musical that came out about 15 years ago. It was called Wicked. Has anybody heard of that? It's fantastic, fantastic musical. If you haven't seen it, please get up and see it. It's in its 15th season. It was written by a man by the name of Stephen Schwartz. And I'm waiting for him to come out further in the musical. It is in my top 5 musicals. This is a medley of Wicked tunes featuring, in the original cast was Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. So we hope you enjoy our arrangement of highlights from the musical Wicked. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Just before we play our last number, just a few things kind of on the top of my head. First, if you're not sure about the school schedule, we have been pretty much testing since the first week of May. We started out with AP testing for 2 weeks. We're now in our second week of park testing. That interrupts everything that you see in front of you. Lately, we've had shortened rehearsal. The last 4 rehearsals leading up to this, we have had about 20 minutes worth of rehearsal. Today was the first time where we put this entire ensemble together. I could not compliment them any more for their professionalism, their musicianship. They are playing fantastically well. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize the leaders of this ensemble. Many of the people you see up here, right around 50 of them are in their 4th year. They have been in this program for 4 years. They have gone through a lot in those 4 years. They started with a teacher who was here and was fantastic. Mr. McCormick was here. And then they had to go through a transition of my craziness, which is sometimes not easy. So I really do appreciate the senior class of 2018. If you would please stand up, please, if you are graduating in a few weeks, please. All of these students that you see right here are going on to bigger and better things, and I will say this at the band banquet, but this is always their home. I am so proud of all their accomplishments. I do follow a lot of alumni on Facebook and just through email and stuff like that, and some of the stuff that I know that these individuals are going to do, whether it's music or not music, I really don't care. They are always welcome back here, and they are going to be very, very successful. So thank you very much for all of you. Thank you so much. We want to conclude with the march. I don't think I have done a march of this ensemble lately. This is one of my favorite marches. This is the National Emblem March, and there's a little bit of a backstory behind this one. When I was a high school student, I used to go up to New York City, and there's a huge Christmas festival in Rockefeller Center where they get a whole bunch of tuba players together and euphonium players together, and they do this arrangement of Jingle Bells. And it's a really odd arrangement. They stuck a march in the middle of it, and I don't know why, but all of us who play in that festival love that. And it became to my senior year of high school, and my band director put in front of me a march, and I started playing through it, I had to stop halfway through because it was the same exact march that we're playing right now, and it had it, and I loved it ever since. So I did the same thing with this ensemble, and there were 5 students who went to Tuba Christmas this year, and I put this piece in front of them. We got to that section, and they stopped playing just like I did. And they're like, oh my God, it's the best piece. But in any event, this is National Emblem. We hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for spending really 2 hours with us. I hope you enjoyed the program. So we're going to end with National Emblem. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much once again. On behalf of myself, Mr. Ficara, who's somewhere around here, I don't know where he is, sorry, and Mrs. Fodor, I think who's up, I see him back there, and Mrs. Fodor's in the back. We really appreciate you spending a Monday evening with all of us. We wish you the best in the rest of the school year. I know you guys aren't on school years, but we are. And we hope we see most of you at the band banquet June 3rd. I know Mrs. Rochelle is still collecting money for all of that. Don't forget about JTV. Order forms are in the back, $15 for DVDs, and I think that's it. Unless, yes, we didn't see that. We didn't see that. Speaking of, while Mrs. Ebersol is up here, hey, can you guys do me a favor? Can you all thank Mrs. Ebersol for all the baked goods? Thank you, Mrs. Ebersol. If you don't know, Mrs. Ebersol bakes on the bus every single competition, so I have benefited from many, many, many cookies and many crumb cakes, and it's been fantastic. So thank you, Mrs. Ebersol.
Hello. We just want to thank the audience for coming out tonight and supporting this program. It really means a lot to us. We put so much effort and hard work into what we do, especially against all the odds with all the testing and stuff. But thank you so much for sharing these special moments with us.
For the record, I'm pretty sure the only reason Mr. Diaz likes me is because of my mom's baking, but that's just another thing. We also would really want to thank Mr. Diaz, Mr. Ficara, and Ms. Fodor for their never-ending dedication towards making this program so great. We all truly appreciate it, and we got you some gifts, so wherever Mr. Ficara and Ms. Fodor are, come on up.
And on behalf of me, Matt, and the seniors, we want to give a special thanks to Mr. Diaz for the past 4 years he's been with us and for seeing us grow into the young adults that we are today. Seniors, this is our last concert. I'm joking. I'm going to miss all the times we had in band. It's been really fun. And Mr. Diaz, it's been a hell of a ride. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, pretty much all the same. I think we all really appreciate everything you've done for the 4 years. You've, well, 2.5 years that you've been band director. This program has grown so much, and we really do want to thank you for making us into the musicians we are today. And also, complete side note, it's Cameron Troiano's birthday today. So, should we all sing happy birthday? And happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Yes, this is what we deal with on a daily basis. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to, on behalf of myself, everybody here, and the people behind you, have a great rest of the season. Thank you for supporting this program. Safe rides home, everybody. Thank you.